In 1999, two psychologists, David Dunning and Justin Kruger, conducted a study that would later become one of the most well-known findings in psychology. In this study, participants were given a series of tests measuring their abilities in humor, logical reasoning, and grammar. After completing the tests, they were asked to estimate how well they had performed compared to others in the group. The results were surprising. Those who performed poorly consistently believed they had done much better than they actually had. Meanwhile, those who performed well often underestimated their performance relative to their peers. This cognitive bias, where people with lower knowledge or skill overestimate their competence, while highly skilled individuals tend to doubt or underestimate their abilities, is known as the Dunning-Kruger effect. At first glance, this effect seems strange, even paradoxical. How can someone be so confident while being so wrong? And why would competent people question themselves? The answer may lie in how we judge competence. People with limited knowledge often lack the very awareness needed to recognize their own mistakes. On the other hand, skilled individuals tend to assume that what is easy for them must also be easy for others. Although the phenomenon is still debated among psychologists, real-world surveys reflect this pattern. For example, studies have found that 93% of American drivers believe they are better than average drivers, while only 69% of Swedish think the same, which is an obvious statistical impossibility. To understand this effect more clearly, let's look at the graph of this effect. Look at the far left. Your competence is near zero, but your confidence is at the peak. This is the I know everything phase, also known as Mount Stupid. The core reason for this phase is a psychological phenomenon called the dual burden. People at this stage suffer from two things at once. They lack the actual skill to perform a task correctly, and they also lack the metacognitive ability to recognize that they are performing poorly. If you continue learning, reality starts setting in, and the graph drops sharply. This is the valley of despair. You've finally gained enough knowledge to see the vast, terrifying ocean of things yet to discover. This is where you say, I know nothing. This phase is painful, humbling, and it's actually the moment most people quit. If you still don't quit, you begin a slow and steady climb upward. This phase of gradual growth is the slope of enlightenment. Your confidence isn't fueled by ego anymore. It's fueled by actual experience. You're making fewer mistakes, you're connecting the dots, and you're starting to realize that expertise is a marathon, not a sprint. Finally, you reach the right side of the graph. This phase is called the plateau of sustainability. At this phase, you may have noticed something interesting, that your confidence is high, but it usually never reaches that first unrealistic peak again. It is because a true expert knows there's always more to learn. At this phase, you are skilled, thoughtful, and grounded. You don't feel the need to be loud about what you know. You simply know. In 1999, Justin Kruger and David Dunning published the study on the effects. The question that led Kruger and Dunning to write their paper was this: how is it that people sometimes say things that are clearly wrong and yet are totally confident that they are correct? This answer can be found in the concept of metacognition. Metacognition is simply thinking about your own thinking. It is the internal process of monitoring, controlling, and evaluating your own mental performance. The Dunning-Kruger effect isn't just about being unskilled, it is specifically a metacognitive failure. When people lack skill in a subject, they often also lack the self-awareness needed to recognize their mistakes. The same skills needed to be good at something are also needed to recognize mistakes. Without this metacognitive ability, a person may feel highly confident despite performing poorly. On the other side, skilled individuals usually have stronger metacognitive awareness. They see the nuances and complexities others miss, which can lead them to be more cautious and sometimes underestimate their relative performance. The Dunning-Kruger effect is a psychological paradox where the least competent people are often the most confident because they lack the metacognition to recognize their own errors, a cycle known as the dual burden. This creates a calibration gap where beginners overestimate themselves while experts often underestimate their unique skills, leading to the ultimate irony. The moment you feel like an expert is often when you are most ignorant, while the moment you feel truly humbled by how much you don't know is the first sign of real wisdom. As Socrates had said, I know that I am intelligent because I know that I know nothing.